It kind of looks like black bear habitat behind me or around me, doesn't it? That's because it is. Black bear do live nearby me, where I'm standing right here by this beaver pond. There's a beaver dam right here, the MAINE beaver dam, the really big beaver dam's further out behind me. This is like a secondary dam made by the beavers. Their real dam, the real beaver dam, is back here, and the beaver house is over here, over my left shoulder. So we got a beaver dam back there, beaver dam here, a couple different ponds formed by beavers constructing dams. And a lot of people don't realize, but black bear are attracted to beavers, to beaver pond areas. Obviously, a hunter would start out by finding all the wetlands and ponds in the area that they're going after the black bear. And a hunter can go to those ponds and see if that pond was formed by beaver dams, and also determine if there's currently active beaver houses and beavers live in there. And a hunter would do well to find a great little ambush stakeout point to watch that beaver pond and watch the beaver house, beaver dam, beaver pond, wetland. And a hunter could stake out or ambush that beaver pond and wait for the black bears to come out in the evening to eat. And not only because it's a wetland, not just because the beavers formed pond by damming up water, but there always was a natural brook or a river of some sorts running through the area. It was always a wetland, and there was always lots of food items, things that black bear love to eat, growing along the banks of the river and stream in that area. But then once the beavers constructed their dams and formed a pond, a couple different ponds, it ultimately made that wetland much bigger. So now the wetland's bigger in circumference, it's extended out. It's an opening in the forest. The sunlight can reach the ground, and that sunlight with a lot of moisture, a lot of water and sunlight, hence you have vegetation springing up. A lot of things that black bear love to eat grow around beaver ponds, beaver dam areas, and in and around wetlands. Lots of things that bear love to eat. And another really cool fact about black bears is if ever a black bear can be successful at getting their paws and their big teeth on to a beaver, they love to kill and eat beaver if they're ever successful at doing so. So not only is there a lot of different things that bear love to eat, your grasses, sedges, all your broad-leaved or herbaceous vegetation bear will eat. There's obviously berries. You got your blackberries, raspberries, blueberries, hobblebush berries, black cherry tree berries, and holly berries, and I can't remember all the berries that you'd find. And there's juniper berry. There's a lot of berries. Oh, cranberries, naturally growing in wetlands. So cranberries, blueberries, raspberries, blackberries, black cherry tree berries. There's all those different berries, and all your vegetation, your skunk cabbage and sedges, grasses, and all your broad-leaved, waist-high, chest-high, herbaceous type vegetation that grow in and around wetlands. Not only do black bear seek out all that stuff to eat around wetlands, but also if they're ever successful at doing so, they love to kill and eat beaver. They're extremely attracted to the beaver castor. Beaver castor, that's the scent emitted from the anal glands on a beaver. That's a major attractant for black bears. So black bear roaming around the forests and hills and mountains, roaming around the wetlands. Black bear that smell, that very potent beaver castor smell from the anal glands of the beavers, that pulls the bear right into that wetland, to that beaver pond. And then the black bear starts staking it out. The black bears will ambush beaver. Black bear will learn where the beaver live. Black bears are so highly intelligent that they can very quickly learn where the beaver live. They can learn that, okay, the beaver live in that beaver house over there. Black bear often are by hunters and outdoor enthusiasts, any backpackers and hikers. Black bear are often spotted resting on top of beaver houses, sunning themselves and just resting, sleeping on beaver huts, beaver houses, hoping to get a snack. Or they'll ambush a beaver pond, beaver house, stake out and watch and observe the beaver at play and the beaver doing what beaver do, and then the black bear will stalk the beaver, and the black bears will try their luck at killing and eating a beaver. And so this is great knowledge for all of you hunters, all of those folks out there that want to pursue the black bear, that want to try their luck at hunting black bears. They can use this little tidbit of piece of information to their advantage. Obviously, a hunter would start out by finding all the wetlands and ponds in the area that they're going after the black bear. And a hunter can go to those ponds and see if that pond was formed by beaver dams, and also determine if there's currently active beaver houses and beavers living there. And a hunter would do well to find a great little ambush stakeout point to watch that beaver pond and watch the beaver house, beaver dam, beaver pond, wetland. And a hunter could stake out or ambush that beaver pond and wait for the black bears to come out in the evening to eat and to wander around that pond in hopes to stumble upon a beaver or just to get a snack in general. And so a hunter could shoot a black bear that way. And another way that a hunter can kill a black bear without ever establishing a bait site. So during your scouting efforts in bear country, you should already have established that there's a great surplus of black bears living in the area where you want to go pursue the black bear. There's already an established, healthy, thriving black bear population. So, and you already have in your bag of tricks knowing about beavers, beaver ponds. And now, what you want to do during your scouting efforts is find your oaks, find your red oak stands. Go look, use your Onyx app. Use your aerial photos, your apps like the Onyx app. So more than just put boot leather on the ground, hit the ground, run and go and hike the mountains, ridges and hills and the forests and bear country and look for those red oak stands, those red oak trees. Black bear absolutely love acorns, and a great tactic for trying to kill a black bear without you having to use bait and attractant scent stuff is to find areas in the forest and the mountains where black bear are feeding heavily on acorns. Find where there's oak tree branches spread out all over the ground and bear scat. Wherever black bear are currently feeding on acorns right now, you want to establish that bear are eating the acorns in that area now, not a week prior, 2 weeks prior, months prior, not last year, but this year and right now, like today, yesterday, this current week. You want to establish that black bear are feeding on red oaks, acorns in that area that you're scouting right now. Fresh bear scat, fresh bear tracks, sign and evidence of black bear climbing the oak trees, breaking branches and shaking the tree to get the acorns to fall to the ground so they can binge eat and gorge themselves on acorns. If black bear are feeding on those oaks, you'll find green oak branches with acorns on them on the ground from the black bear climbing the oaks and breaking the branches and shaking the tree to get the acorns to fall to the ground. Black bear have the advantage over white-tailed deer in that they will climb oak trees before the acorns start falling, and they'll gorge themselves on acorns up in the tree, and they'll break branches and they'll shake the tree to get acorns to fall to the ground. And black bear have the advantage over deer in that they can eat acorns right before they ever start falling to the ground for the deer to eat, and turkey and blue jays and mice and and raccoons and all your animals and critters that love acorns. The black bear have the advantage, the upper hand on all of them, because they can eat acorns before everyone else does. So this is a great trick to have in your back pocket if you're wanting to hunt the black bear and try your luck at killing a black bear without ever needing to use bait. Go to bear country where you know the black bear live and find those red oak stands and determine that there are black bear eating the acorns in a certain area, and then plan your approach, plan your ambush. Find the perfect spot on high ground to sit, to watch and observe this oak stand that black bear are currently feeding at. If that fresh scat and those fresh tracks, all that fresh evidence of these red oaks being eaten by black bear is present, then you need to hunt that spot now. Not a week from now or a month from now, but now. You need to establish the right point, the right vantage point. You need to find where you can go sit and ambush the spot and watch it. You obviously need to have everything in your advantage. This X60 Pro Max Guard Pro cellular trail camera is also a live viewing camera. You can watch turkey live, the coyote live, you can watch deer live, you can record clips from your live viewing. Use my exclusive 15% off code Justin15 1084 5252. Everything you need to know for ordering any Guard Pro cameras will be in the description below this video and in the description below any of my YouTube videos. You need to have the wind and thermals working to your advantage. You want to have the right weather, the right conditions. I recommend actually waiting for the barometric pressure to fall or rise. Wait for the barometric pressure to rise or fall, either way, to whether or not it's right after a storm front, after a heavy rain or snowstorm, or any type of weather change, whether it was a cold front like in the 40s. Let's say it was 40, 45 degrees for a high, and then the very next day it's going to be in the 60s. That's a barometric pressure change. Or it was hot in the 60s or 80s one day, and the very next day it's going to be like 20 degrees cooler in the 40s or 50s. And that's a barometric pressure change that's going to get not only deer up and feeding earlier, but your black bear. So how you determine when it's right, when the timing's right to get into this oak stand in bear country, to ambush this spot, this location that you've determined black bear are feeding on acorn, is wait for the right weather conditions. Wait for the barometric pressure to rise or fall. If a heavy rain came through, the very next day you'd have a rise in barometric pressure. Before the storm front, you had a fall in barometric pressure. Hunt either side of that, and that would work to your advantage. So it's not just white-tailed deer that love to get up early during the barometric pressure falling, like right before, like hours before a storm front moving through the area, or several hours after a storm passed. The rise in barometric pressure or fall in barometric pressure, the rising barometric pressure after a storm passes through, or the fall in barometric pressure right before, hours before a storm comes in the area, gets critters up and moving earlier. So black bear do the same. So I recommend following your weather, follow your forecast, look at your forecast, figure out when the barometric pressure is going to fall or rise, and hunt either side of that. And it's best probably to pick a cooler day, a day that's going to be colder than the norm, than the average during bear hunting season. So let's say it was like in the 80s today. It's the 80s, really hot. Tomorrow it's calling for on the forecast to be like 60 or in the 50s or low 60s, like 20-degree difference set. So the barometric pressure is going to be falling. So I would hunt tomorrow. Pick the cooler day when the barometric pressure is dropping. Those black bear are going to get up earlier, much earlier, to gravitate towards that oak stand to feed on the acorns. So pick a day like that. And when the wind is in the perfect direction for you to enter the site, to come into this oak stand without the bear ever smelling you. You've got to determine, by looking all around to do it in your scouting efforts, determine where the black bear are coming from. The black bear are most likely going to be sleeping and resting and holding up in the lower valleys of the mountains and hills, down in the wetlands, in the cool, mossy, and the cool shaded, damp, mossy covered forest floor near a wetland, near stream, river, pond. The black bear are going to be sleeping there during the heat of the day. For the most part, during bear hunting season, it's always hot during the day. It could be in the 70s or 80s and then drop 20 to 30 degrees come evening and get those bear up on their feet early, feet gravitating towards food early in the evening before dark. And so you could pretty much bet that the black bear are going to be coming up from the bottoms, from the streams, rivers, ponds, lakes, from the wetlands below, coming up into the hills to the oak stands to feed on the acorns. And so knowing that, you should plan your approach with the wind in your favor. You want the wind in your face, the wind coming from their bedding area, from where the bear are sleeping during the day, and come in from that direction, from that way. Maybe stay high on high ground. It would be best to actually go in late morning, midday to stake out your ambush. And when the thermals are still rising from the heat of the day, the rising sun, most likely if you stay high, there's a good chance that the thermals are still going upward from the sun heating the forest floor, and the heat's still probably rising up on the higher elevation, pulling your scent up with the rising thermals and the wind in your face. And knowing the barometric pressure's falling, it's going to be 20 degrees cooler come evening. You can have the confidence. You can have the confidence in knowing that those black bear are going to get up on their feet early and come towards your location. And you'll be staked out, ambushed, waiting for those black bear to enter that oak stand where they're currently feeding on the acorns. And bam! And then you'll have your black bear without ever needing to use bait. So another great food source to hone in on to try to kill a black bear without ever needing to use bait or establish a bait site, or use attractant scents for that matter, would be the sweet sugary cambium layer behind the bark of trees. All trees, why they grow, the cambium layer is the layer behind the bark, the outer bark of the trees. That's the growing layer of the tree. The cambium layer is the layer of the tree, the living tissue of the tree that's drawing up the water, nutrients from the soil. And then you got your photosynthesis occurring up above, the leaves and needles, the upper canopy of the trees with the sun and the water drawing up from the root system is all creating photosynthesis. They're photosynthesizing, and the byproduct is sugar. The trees create a sweet growing layer behind the bark called the cambium layer, the sweet sugary cambium layer of the trees. The black bear know this. Black bear will strip the bark on certain size trees to get that sweet sugary cambium layer behind the bark and eat that. If you take your two hands and cup them like this, put them together, take your hands, go like this, cup them like this, put them together and then pull them apart about 2 inches. That would be the diameter of the trees that the black bear target to go after that sweet sugar cambium layer behind the bark. They'll strip the bark on these trees about that big in diameter to get to that cambium layer. And how a hunter can determine if a certain area in bear country, bear habitat, is being targeted by black bear eating the cambium layer on trees is look at your aerial photos. You can scout right from the comforts of the living room of your home, sit on the couch, and you can look at aerial photos, topographical aerial photos on your computer in the mountains and forests where black bear live, and look for openings in the forest in that aerial photo. All these random clearings and openings in the forest, in the mountains, hills that you see, and then go to that area and scout. You have to actually physically go to these clearings and openings in the forest to determine if that clearing was formed by black bear, stripping the bark off of trees and eating the cambium layer behind the bark, and over time killing these trees, and the trees falling over, creating an opening in the forest. And if that's the case, if you determine that a certain clearing in the forest that bear lived was done by the bear killing the trees by eating that cambium layer behind the bark. And so not only do the black bear benefit from getting that sweet sugary cambium layer behind the trees in these clearings in the forest. But after these trees die and fall over, it opens up the canopy, allowing the sunlight to hit the forest floor, and then a regeneration of growth occurs. Then with the sunlight hitting the forest floor, and new vegetation starts springing up. You'll have saplings. Your raspberries, blackberries, blueberries, your black cherry trees will start growing. All of your vegetation, your skunk cabbage, grasses, sedges, and all your broadleaf herbaceous vegetation will start springing up and growing in these clearings. So black bear can benefit from these clearings, these openings, for years to come. So they first started out by finding this area, this patch of trees that they loved, that they wanted the cambium layer out from. And they stripped the bark off of the trees to eat the sugary sweet cambium layer behind the bark. The trees died, fell over, and then as the next year, and the second, third, fourth year, as years progressed, the sunlight hitting the forest floor helped regenerate that area. Over time, new vegetation sprung up. Your berries and your broadleaf herbaceous vegetation, your skunk cabbage, grasses, sedges, saplings, all that whole bunch of stuff that black bear loved to eat started growing up in this clearing. So you have to go to these clearings in bear country, determine whether or not that area is still being used by black bear now, today. Find fresh bear scat, fresh tracks, evidence of black bear feeding there now, not from years prior. And then you'll have your spot to stake out, ambush the black bear in hopes to kill a black bear without ever needing to use bait. You've gone to several of these locations to determine whether or not these clearings, openings are being used by black bear today, not years prior. You found fresh bear scat, fresh tracks, evidence of black bear feeding there now. Then you can plan your attack, plan your ambush to stake out that area to kill a black bear without ever having to use bait. There you have these three key foods, favorite foods of the black bear, and three hunting tactics, if you will, that you can use to pursue the black bear in hopes to kill a black bear without ever needing to put in all that time and effort establishing a bait site, spending the thousands of dollars on bait and attractants to establish a bait site. So you don't ever have to kill a black bear by baiting, by using that baiting method. And this brings me to a very important point, that hunting is the #1 tool for the wildlife conservation model that helps control the populations to keep them at threshold or slightly below threshold, so the carrying capacity doesn't way far exceed threshold and cause many problems in the ecosystem. We don't want to shock the ecosystem. We want to keep a healthy, stable ecosystem in our environments around us where we live. We want that ecosystems to stay balanced, healthy, and thrive and moving along smoothly. We don't want a shocked, imbalanced ecosystem. And that's why hunting is so important. If you need to determine whether or not a black bear is mature and old and is a shooter bear at just really first glance, if you need to quickly field judge that bear, a good rule of thumb is to look at their ears when they're walking in. Are their ears more off to the sides of their head? Are they spread apart, far apart from one another? That's indicative of a very squared off, blocky, wide head. That's an older, mature black bear. And do those ears look a lot smaller compared to the size of his head? And if that's the case, if the answer is yes, then that's a shooter black bear. That's an older, big, mature boar, most likely. And when that bear turns sideways, does his nose gradually flow off the forehead? Is it more flush with the head? Is it more streamlined up like this? Or does it look like the nose was... Or does it look like someone took a muzzle and just placed it on the front of the face? That's a sow. That would be a sow's nose. And a big, mature boar, male black bear. They'll have big, broad, bulky shoulders They'll look real wide and big and husky in the front, and they'll have big saggy bellies, and their legs will appear shorter. So a hunter sitting in a stand or in a blind overlooking a bait site can determine if they're looking at a boar or sow. And the hunter can be selective and choosy so they don't shoot a sow or a sow with cubs or a cub. So baiting allows hunters to be able to do that. Well, I really hope you learned a lot here today watching this episode. And I hope you can use a lot of the information that I shared with you today to your advantage to go out there to shoot a black bear without ever needing to use bait. And hopefully you learned enough from this video to help you be successful on your bear hunts. So if I succeeded in any way doing that, well, could you please click the like button before you go? I'd greatly appreciate it. If you're not subscribed to my Spikes and Gills YouTube channel yet, could you go ahead and subscribe now and click the notification bell so you'll be notified of all my future uploads. I'd really appreciate the extra support and follow everybody. So don't forget to click that like button and definitely subscribe to Spikes and Gills and click the notification bell before you go if you haven't already done so. I greatly appreciate the extra support and follow everybody. I'll see you on the next episode.